The proposal will conform with Section 101 of the Tax Code of 1997. However, in order for the donation to private firms to be exempt from the donor's tax, it requires that the private firm is an accredited donor institution by the Philippine Council for NGO certification. Also, on the proposed additional deduction from gross income equivalent to 50% of the expenses incurred by the local coffee shops, including local and foreign franchises, restaurants, and hotels serving coffee, the proposal is not supported for being
but provided a register. Because under there's a 50% enhanced deduction if we buy from local.
Yeah, so ano na po yung difference with the local factories na
Wala, except
factories na
wala, except both of national. Both of national. So in other words, if you register, for example, juice, register with pay and billing cost. Pero at this point, we want to
So, Mr. Chair, tanong ko lang sa BIR. So, how much would be the revenue loss?
may computation ko sa ilang deduction ng kape. May computation ko sa ilang deduction ng kape.
Mr. Chair, we go from that Mr. Chair, we go from that
Sa BIR. Mr. Bu. This one will anyway, currently show the recommendation. Okay, as always, we change tax incentives to tax exemptions. And para hindi na natin kailangan sagutin si Francisco, we need to accept that we take away the enhanced deduction first. Kasi it's para lang So with that, there's a chance. Okay.
So, yun kasi dapat iba na. Multinational companies. Kasi alam naman natin sa multinational companies. Sasabi sila, I mean, parang di ba unfair naman yan sa companies natin. Kasi ngayon napapansin ko na nagsusuputan yung mga local companies. So maganda mabigyan din natin.
Foreign coffee.
Yung XMCS, yung yeah.
So, I think if we can come up with an articulation, but in the meantime, we remove the enhanced deduction first. Because most likely, the biggest beneficiary will be the foreign.
Mr. Chair, may I now make a motion? I respectfully move that we approve the amendment section 16 of the numbers substitute bill, House Bills number 1796 and 3554. So moved.
Are there any objections? Hearing none, same as
May I respectfully move as well, Mr. Chair, that all the members present be included as co-authors of this legislative measure.
Your name,
Except for Kasi mag-ano.
Mamaya, pagdating sa floor, tanggal ko na naman yun. Pero ngayon, siya mismo yung certified. So the chair knows that minority has inserted sa Alright. May I recognize ang pinakamasipag sa privilege hour because she has to represent one of the biggest contributor to Philippine economy. Without them, our economy would have stopped. Congresswoman Lisa Del Carmen, the OFW for hearing none. So everybody except for Castro is a co-author. May now proceed to the last referral from the Committee on Agriculture. Please show the title of the bill.
An act establishing the Young Farmers and Fisher Force creating for the purpose the Young Farmers and Fisher Force Challenge Council appropriating funds for
May we respectfully ask or will Congressman Tito Tan or the Leader of Agriculture
Eh, meron na.
Mabilis na siya.
Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. The substitute bill encourages the youth to pursue a career or engage in activities related to agriculture, fishery, and farmers and fisher folks. Participation in policy formulation and further implementation relative to the agricultural sector, and provide institutional support for agribusiness and agri-entrepreneurship initiatives of the youth to fully realize their role as agents and partners for development. The three provisions of the bill include establishing a young farmers and fisher folk challenge program to support and empower the young farmers and fisher folk between 15 to 40 years of age who are engaged in farming and fisheries activities and are included in the registry system for basic sectors in agriculture. It creates a young farmers and fisher folk challenge council to provide overall policy and direction of concerned agencies to ensure the effective implementation of the program. The council shall be administratively attached to the Department of Agriculture. It accepts all grants, requests, endowments, donations, contributions paid to and used actually directly and indirectly by the council from payment of donor tax, and the same shall be considered allowable deduction from gross income for purposes of computing the taxable income of the donor in accordance with the provisions of the NRC of 1997 Once again, your support for the immediate approval of this bill is
Yung hilo na yung pinakambagala.
identify streamline access to possible sources of credit when this under the domain of this. On a personal note, pinyating this program.
Ilan lang magkasama dumating? Dalawa kayo? Dalawa bale?
Basically, I've spent about 138,000 a month na.
Okay lang, sir.
Pero wala naman, basically, I just test the NDH machine. So, mapapaipudos na lang namin sa floor siguro na dapat yung lahat ng inasos dito ay yung iba ano dito, yung mga rules dapat siya.
Dalawa kayo, no?
Is an alternative
Salamat.
to direct compliance to the South. 11901 Agalo. So the reference should be here. So wala na Rural Landscaping, fertilizer, dinidikdik, construction. So unless, may we now hear from a research person, their comment on the recommendation, DOF? Same as usual. NPRC?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Considering that the Young Farmers and Fisher Folk Tariffs Council is a government entity, the proposed donor tax exemption and its deductibility from the gross income of the donor are consistent with sections 101 and 34H2 of the NRC of 1997 as amended. On the other hand, the proposed waiver of or charges from young farmers
Umikot na doon.
and fisher folks who are first-time job seekers first-time job seekers assistance act. Hence, we interpose the objections to the proposed exemption from fees. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sa preliminary, may I recognize first Congressman Del Norte, Congressman Dale V. Cordova. Sir, for your Actually, ang ganda-ganda rin po programa, pero ngayon ko lang naisipan kasi kami, yung, kasi yung, during the time of the pandemic for 3 years, until now, young farmers. Hindi ka naisipan na isang si Diyos Barcelona, isang fisher and by farmers and fisher folks. Hindi na sila ng payo, walang magputong sa alwan. So anyway, the right of first interpellation is given to the minority. The minority has no objection, but will also not be part of the culture. Okay. So the minority. Any question from the majority? Okay, Congressman Ordanes?
Mr. Chair, Council,
Yes.
I move that we approve without amendment section C, paragraph C, P, Q, section 6-A and 7 of the numbered substitute bill to House Bills number 280, 613, 1192, 1951, 2732, 2353, 2365, 2388, 2416, 2751, 3213, 3549, 3617, 4823, 6366, 7268, 7735, 8245, and 9265.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Are there any objection? Hearing none, same is approved.
And I like twice move that all members present be included as those of the commission.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Are there any
No
objections?
Pag-cancel ito, nagbibigay na ng mga sample yun.
Ganun naman talaga sa mga. So, I think she is effective. So, the motion is hereby approved. All members present today are now included as co-authors. So, the Committee on Agriculture and Food is hereby discharged. Please go away.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sayang, pinabutan ka pa ni Kung. So, may I go back to the first referral on the Committee on Energy. Object, please read the title of the measure.
A number subject bill to House Bill number 7001 entitled An Act Providing for the Condonation of Unpaid Obligations on the Power Consumption of the Public Department of the Power Sector Asset and Liabilities Management Commission covered by representatives from numerous organizations the goal of 20 of ST and demanded
This measure seeks to loan the debt of the public department of the CDP amounting to 3.5 billion as of 2023, given the adjustments Meet and Energy studied the possibility of condoning only the interest, penalties, and surcharges of the total obligation from discharge of this fund. However, PISAM supported the full condonation. Everyone. Of course, the combination will also help the city of Olonga mobilize its budget for programs and other services, and of course, hopefully lead to lower rates for its consumers, both residential and commercial. So, at this point, may we ask the Vice Chairperson, our good friend Jefferson F. Coleman, to deliver his sponsorship remarks on this actually breakthrough measure program. So, Vice Chairperson Coleman.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, members of the Committee on Ways and Means. The primary objective of this sufficient bill is to condone all outstanding financial obligations of the PUD of Olonga City, Luzon, and other government agencies, including but limited to value-added taxes, generation rate adjustment mechanism, incremental currency exchange rate adjustment, deferred accounting adjustment charges, and automatic cost recovery mechanism of fuel, purchase power cost adjustment, foreign adjustment, and true-up adjustment charges representing the power consumption of PUD Olonga City. The Committee on Energy, through a technical working group, conducted an extensive and thorough deliberation of the PUD Olonga City condonation of loans to PISAM bill. The very able PWG Chairperson, Deputy Minority Leader Leslie Chidesius, and this representation, the author of the bill, the stakeholders in the Department of Finance, National Power Corporation, PISAM, and the LGU of Olonga discussed the issues presented, proposed feasible courses of action, and used consensus on specific provisions of the bill. The TWG approved the sufficient bill on the PUD Olonga City condonation of the power obligation to PISAM, the adjustment and subject to slide. Initially, the group considered the possibility of condoning only the interest, penalties, and surcharges of the total amount, while reconstructing the principal obligation of PUD Olonga City to PISAM. One point, we discussed stretching out the period of payment with a planned restructuring to 75 years. However, the group ultimately decided to retain the original intent of the bill, which is to condone in the entirety of the overdue obligation of PUD Olonga City, since PISAM itself agreed to such total condonation if the committee chooses to go into that direction. Pursuant to this, the substitute bill mandates the DOF, in coordination with PISAM, to promulgate the necessary rules and regulations for the effective implementation of the Act. It is further ensures that these rules and regulations do not contain additional requirements that negate the purpose of this Act. Additionally, the bill mandates the DOF to require the PISAM to submit biannually a list of delinquent accounts and demands made for payment from electric cooperatives and other distribution utilities. The purpose of this provision is to ensure that the arrears of delinquent accounts are strictly monitored and appropriately addressed, such that no consumer will ever have to be burdened with knowing that their issues. The proposed combination of the power obligation of the PUD Olonga City to PISAM, Mr. Chair, and the members of the committee, will provide the city a fresh start. It will allow the LGU to get a utilized budget for programs that will provide the basic services needed by its conditions. Having said that, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee on Ways and Means, I would like to request for the favorable consideration and approval of the combination value-added tax provision repealing of combination of loan consumption. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Dapat yung pag-video. Nasa yung video cover. Actually, we can get this out in the plenary. Is the way to do this really is for the direct transfer of this debt to the national government. That is the systematic and orderly way of disposal. Gusto mo yata magsalita dito. Okay na, please. We will listen. Sir?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, and the members of the committee. The department recognizes the intent of the bill to relieve all of the profits concerning debt as the outstanding obligation has compromised the ability of the local government to deliver services. We, however, are constrained to oppose the proposal as echoed in the previous letter of the former Secretary of Finance to the committee. In summary, we oppose the measure considering that the proposal will create a moral hazard among our consumers who diligently pay their obligations. The proposal will also deprive Quezon of the necessary funds that can reduce its outstanding debt, which ultimately lead to higher overall debt burden on the part of the national government. The government also cannot afford to forgo 77.5 billion. 7.7, Your Honor. We suggest that Quezon and the city government enter into a loan restructuring agreement allowing flexible Your Honor, in summary. That's the position of the department in the full continuation. That's it.
Galing-galing yun naman dito. No, but yung isang kasi was supposed to be an orderly and systematic disposition of stranded cobwebs that sort of impacts on the price of electricity. At the same time, it camouflages all other irregularities with respect to the way we manage our electricity distribution. So the best way here is like any zombie loan, which will never get paid anyway. Why don't we just transfer all these things to the NG debt? And then of course, the way we service the NG debt will be a reduction in the overall expenditure. So just like a CB bond, just like Pisang, just ewan ko kung papayag SBMA. Okay lang ba sa'yo kung i-deduct namin sa SBMA SC revenue for 20 years? I want this committee to work. You know, I always look at it from the view wherein this committee makes a mark in the way we making a break. Because I think at the end of the day, these things will not get paid anyway. So you have a zombie. So why lead to the zombie? Let's confront it directly. So anyway, we will make a position. We heard you, and you have your recourse to the president. Ask for, I'm not encouraging you to ask for a veto, but of course the DOF is very good at that. So, but you know, you have to look at it from a bigger picture approach, which is really that those some then of the DUs, especially the ECs, can never be paid after all. So if you want an orderly and systematic disposition of these zombie debts, You might as well just, go through the process. Instead of, akala mo may pera yung pisang, wala naman pala. Kasi nga, wala naman talagang pambayad itong PUD na to. Anyway, I don't want to lecture you. You're better than me. So, the right to first, may I recognize my good friend, the Long District of Carino, Congresswoman Mili H. Kua. Hi, ma'am. Long time no see. Concept, visual provision. One of the most, grabe, section 1 agad. Gusto ko lang itong approval para makalagay na sa floor. Kasi kung magtatanong, matatagalan ka. Kung bahala ka sa buhay mo. O sige, magtanong ka para matagalan ko. Hindi, the right of first interpellation belongs. Diyak na ito ako yung pagtatanong. Sige, ang kakalaon na tayo ng problema. No problem. Yes, Franz.
Gusto ko lang hindi Mr. Chair, no, yung with due respect sa mga friend, kung kaugnay nito, so ano po ba yung dahilan bakit hindi siya nabayaran?
Hindi sila makasingil.
Hindi sila makasingil.
Kasi nga, yung yes.
So,
I'd like to answer the inquiry of conference.
All questions can be directed to this.
Nag-start kasi yun, conference, nag-start yun sa kapabayaan din ng National Power Corporation. Dahil nakita naman nila na hindi na nakakabayad during the last administration ng Olongapo City. And yet, hindi nila hininto yung supply ng pagbibigay ng kuryente. At lumobo na lumobo yung utang. Na yung utang nga, it is marked also by corruption, no? At talagang nakita natin na talagang binayaran ng mga mamamayan ng Olongapo City yung kuryente. Ang problema, yung local government, hindi ibinayad yung kuryente sa NTC. So, yun yung naging problema. Now, ang gustong gawin ng national government yan, singilin ulit yung mga tao sa pagkakautang, which is nabayaran naman na nila. Actually, this is a very unique situation kasi Olongapo City lang ang may utang sa Pisang. Actually, hindi na ito rin magagaya ng ibang mga electric cooperatives. Kasi walang ibang local government na may utang sa Pisang kundi Olongapo City lang. So it will not be applicable sa mga electric cooperatives na may utang sa Pisang. So this is a very unique situation ng Olongapo City. And dahil na itong pagkakautang nito is marked by corruption, ayaw bayaran ng local government unit ngayon ang utang na ito dahil talagang hindi alam kung saan dinala yung pera. Hindi naman na po pwedeng idemanda yung previous administration dahil yung mayor dati is wala na rin at patay na rin. So, wala na nga habulin ng Olongapo City. At tama si Chairman Salceda na ito ay magiging stagnant na. Hindi, walang balak bayaran. So, mas maganda para at least maka-move on ang City of Olongapo City is mag-condone na yung pagkakautang. Total naman, nagsimula ito sa kapabayaan.
Hindi naman ako dapat tanggalan ng kuryente, hindi nakakabayan kasi ma-affect naman ang ating mga kababayan. Yung mga kababayan natin sa Olongapo City. But dun sa kwento, Mr. Chair, parang talagang obvious dito yung corruption. So hindi lang naman yung mayor yung mag-decide dito. So this is an LGU. So sino ba yung mga responsible? So dapat mahabol din natin. Like katulad nga, bayaran ng lahat ng citizen itong naging kapabayaan o korupsyon ng LGU at saka kapabayaan na hindi naman unfair naman yun sa mga citizen. So parang maganda yung suggestion ng OF na lang ng ano, no? Ng MOA, yung CP, at saka yung isang bayan. Na mabayaran paunti-unti, itong kasi anak ko 7.7 billion. So, pwede naman siguro magawa yan, ilang terms ba? 25 and 20 years?
With all,
Pwede man yan.
Mr. Chairman,
Mailagay sa budget na.
with all due respect, Mr. Chairman, Conference, ikinuwenta na rin po ng, ano yan, ng DOF yan, ikinuwenta na rin po ng Rizal. At kahit na po pagbigyan ng ulong deposit ng 100 years, hindi po talaga nila kayang bayaran dahil mag-accumulate po ng interest yan dire-diretso. And the social service is talagang magsasuffer. Like for example, 75 years, almost 100 million a year yun. Yes, a year. Kailangan ko i-budget which is mapupunta sana, lalong-lalo na sa mga ospital, sa mga service na ibinibigay natin sa tao. So talagang hindi kakayanin na nababayaran. Actually, kinuwenta natin yung 75 years, 100 years, 50 years. It's quite unfair din naman na pabayaran sila ng isang bagay na talagang ninakaw naman ng ibang tao, ng previous administration, na kinamatayan, na kinasuhan din sa ombudsman, kaso kinamatayan na nila lahat. No? So talagang hindi na rin alam ng ulong City kung hahabulin, kung sino ang dapat habulin. So we might as well move on na. Yun naman ang ng ulong City na makamove on na siya. Dahil talagang pahirap talaga ito sa mamamayan ng ulong po. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
For your last word.
Okay, I leave it to the to the wisdom of the committee. Pero ano pa rin ako doon, so worry pa rin ako doon sa magiging implication nito in the future, Mr. Chair, kung papayagan natin yung mga ganitong combination. Siguro, yung mga interest, baka pwedeng matanggal yung mga interest, yung principal na ng bayaran, baka pwedeng mas ganun. Pero pag-iisipan pa natin, Mr. Chair. I leave to the wisdom of the committee, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
We don't worry, we will approve this, but we will make a special. The committee recommends the condemnation, but the committee is not in a position to improve the criminal liability of them. I think that is the last word we will make on this. So I think we will make appropriate recommendations. So we are not in a position to condone the criminal liability of the government. So anyway, so is there any motion?
Okay.
Yes, please.
May I raise a question first? Just a point of inquiry, Mr. Chair.
Okay, syempre naman.
Can we be enlightened why the sum, why not before?
Noong 2001 kasi, para maayos natin, kasi nagkabuhol-buhol na dahil sa IPP. Umabot ng 3.8 billion yung standard debt sa standard cost. Dahil from 1992 to 1998, yung gobyerno nagkontrata ng mga power, kumisan maabot ng 76 pesos per kilowatt. So nung dumating na yung oras na kailangan natin magbayad, hindi na kinailangan. So, we went into an orderly disposition using the orderly and systematic disposition of these debts or these standard debt. So ngayon, ang ginawa, yung NPC, hindi na nila kaya dito sila. Ang ginawa una, 500 consumer, 500 nakalagay din sa GAA. So ngayon, after that, yung lahat ng pagkakautang at lahat ng mga asset na napukor versus fund, nilipat sa PISA. So yung PISA ngayon, so ang napukor ngayon, malinis na. So yung PISA is like a CD ball or a board of liquidator, wherein Yung isa sa ginawa nila, lahat po ng tinatawag natin IPP, binenta nila. Kaya nga napunta sa private sector yung management ng suwal, yung pagbilaw, etc. Pangabang pwede mo naman ang tanong mo. Pero ang sinasabi ko, napunta sa NAPOCOR dahil hindi naman kakayanin ng NAPOCOR i-sustain yung pagbayad nung stranded debt at stranded cost. Dalawa yan ha, stranded debt na, stranded cost. So, yeah, para may isang government agency na walang gagawin kundi kung paano mabawasan yung 2.8 trillion na yun. For your information, yung 2.8 trillion is now just 246 billion. Which tells you that this country has that fiscal capacity of addressing this fiscal. This is in 2001. 2.8 trillion. Ngayon, 246 billion na lang ang natitirang utang ng isang. So, there is a way. Kaya, of course, in the middle of it is always this committee. I hope I can, that answer suffices for you.
Mr. Chair, considering that this is last question, Mr. Chair, are we not anticipating the possibility that there will be other?
Yes, moral hazard is a very clear risk as said by the law. Siyempre naman yung elector, siya. Kaya siyempre ayaw na ayaw yun.
So what therefore will be the standard?
I think all the DUs, because in really, actually, during the EPIRA discussion, wanted combination of all the debt, of all the distribution utilities, of the ECs, para everybody has clean slate. Hindi walang tuto. Hindi naman ako dyan eh. Yung pinalitan kong admin, siya yung tumakbo kasi pagkabayad mo, sinigil ka ng kuryente, di ba? Maya-maya, pinambili ng poste kahit hindi kailangan. Gano'n naman talaga yun nangyari ng mga panahon na yun eh. Pakasigil sa'yo, okay, sigil sa lahat ng mga consumer nila. Tapos mamaya, ang gagawin capital expenditure. Imbis nang ibayad doon sa supplier, not kuryente. Yung pinatawag natin IPP o pinatawag natin mga chain costs, generation. But that is still I hope that is your last question.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion now. Mr. Chair, I respectfully move that we approve, subject to the shown amendments, Section 1 of the unnumbered substitute bill, to House Bill number 7001.
Second the motion.
Are there any objection? Hearing none. Thank you. I think we should have a video clap. For me, it is if we can move it. So, ewan ko kung magpo-order ako dito. So, are there any objections? Hearing none. You seconded, no?
Yes.
Anyway.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. Sige. Yes, okay. Hindi, okay lang. Yes, please proceed. No?
Mr. Chair, I also move that all members present be included as co-authors.
Except for Francis.
Second the motion.
Are there any objections? Hearing none. So everybody's a co-author. Bahala na. Because if you don't co-author, then in Bineco, who used to be one of the best truck, is now also in trouble. Very far from. Okay. I thought you're now so well managed. So, the motion is hereby approved. All members present, except for Castro, will be included as co-authors. So, pagdating sa floor, siya makakapagtanong. Okay, sir. So, malapit na na Pasko. So, the Committee on Energy is hereby discharged.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you,
members.
Congressman Conan, for showing the way. Not necessarily the best way. So now we go to We now go to the Committee on Higher and Technical Education. Please show the title of the bill.
A number substitute bill, House Bill number 7990, entitled An Act Strengthening the Establishment, Governance and Operating of Programs of all public and private higher education institutions, authored by Representative Go FR.
May we ask? Very honorable Chairperson from Baguio City. Ba't ka nandito? So, other than Chairperson Mark Go, we can hire education. The delivery is on the chief remarks. Please show the.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair and members of the Committee on Ways and Means, good morning, and our other resource persons. I'm pleased to present the numbered substitute bill, House Bill number 7990, an act strengthening the establishment, governance, and operating programs, operation of public and private higher education institutions. The provision of quality education as an essential tool for nation building is feasible under the collaborative and complementary roles of public and private sectors in higher education. In such a relationship, the government allows easy access to higher quality education and sets high standards to increase the skills of young citizens to become productive and competent, as well as ensure the availability of sufficient funds and policies. This bill, Mr. Chair, mandates the state through the Commission on Higher Education and other government regulatory agencies to exercise reasonable supervision and regulation of all higher education institutions, both public and private, while guaranteeing their institutional academic freedom. On the part of the state, it shall impose reasonable requirements for creating and converting schools into colleges or state universities, grant permits and recognition for course programs, prescribe restrictions, ensure compliance of HCIs with the minimum and institutional and course requirements, and develop a system for incentives and wider autonomy for HCIs that consistently demonstrate and adhere to standards of exponential challenges. So it should consider how best it would support HCIs. In Section 14 of this bill, exemption from taxes for government funding institution or assistance or support from private higher educational institutions or institutional and educational programs is provided. These outside source funds must be used actually, directly and exclusively for education purposes. Aside from tax breaks is the exemption from national and local income taxes and imposition on income. This subsidy allows HCIs financial flexibility by relieving them of the burden of taxes and duties so that they can concentrate their resources on activities for education. These two tax exemptions can stimulate the development and operations of higher education institutions across the country. Hence, Mr. Chair, I seek your valuable support for the tax exemption provision of this measure. Thank you very much and good morning.
Thank you very much, Congressman. At this point, I recognize Congressman Ron Pizarro and Kabayan Artemis. And of course, Congressman Jules C. Gagoa, whose comments we would have appreciated during the discussion on the case of Olongapo. He represents the APEC party. So now, maybe the comments on the UN.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, honorable members of this committee. The NPRC notes that the proposal of the bill to exempt from national and local income taxes the government funding assistance or support to delivery private higher educational institutions. In effect, disregards the classification of private educational institutions, whether it is a non-stagnant topic or proprietary educational institution. It may be deemed reasonable considering that subjecting its financial assistance or support to tax has an effect of taking away or reducing what it has given in the first place. If the government funding assistance or support to private HCIs shall be treated as donation, the same shall be exempt from donors tax. Section 4.4, Article 14 of the 1987 Constitution provides that, subject to conditions prescribed by law, all grants, endowments, donations, or contributions used directly and exclusively for educational purposes shall be exempt from tax. Moreover, the proposal is consistent with the provision of subsections A2 of Section 101 of the Tax Code of 1997 as that gives weight to or for the use of an institution shall be exempt from donors tax. So we interpose no objection to the proposed income tax exemption of government funding support to private HCIs.
Thank you very much, NRC. At this point, may I also recognize, I'm sorry, I missed out somebody who has not been absent since we went back to Congress. And so the right to first interpellation is given to the members. I may recognize Congressman Peter John Calderon of Cebu City. Thank you very much, sir, for coming. Minority doesn't want to ask questions, so yes.
Clarification lang, Mr. Chair. So yung exemption doon sa mga government subsidies, both for public and private,
Yes.
ayun ang yung subsidies na. Okay, so how about yung mga malalaking schools? Diba yung mga schools for kumikita ng mga schools? Kasi may mga schools tayo na missionary, may mga schools tayo na maliit lang. So hindi siya iba dito.
Well, the Constitution kasi says that any need for education is free.
So yun lang po.
Thank you very much. So, majority, any question? So, may I now call Mr. Cordalis.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve without amendment.
Thank you, Congressman Pasco. Are there any objections? Hearing none, we would like to congratulate the hardworking committee on higher and technical education. Well, job well done. Yes.
May I ask for all the members present today to be able to visit me?
May no objection from Franz Castro. So, are there any objection? Hearing none, since approved, all members present, the Committee on Higher Technical Education is hereby discharged. Thank you. And now, nakapag-istado tayo. Front page na ba yan? May now go, everybody. Concept, please, may now tackle. Sana wala tayong backlog.
Sir, a number subject B to House Bills number 185-1190-2944-3020-4170-4257, 4340-4397, and 4468, and settled an act providing for protection of the remittances.
Anyway, so may I recognize Chairperson? My service is here. And maraming salamat din po sa opportunity as well as the time and meeting for this representation to finally sponsor this measure. Mr. Chair and members of this committee, once again, thank you. And this proposed measure is actually a required bill. It was already been approved by the Committee on Overseas Workers Affairs and Aid in Congress. And the bill's provision of tax deductions will also be taken by this committee as previously approved. The bill, in essence, is extend additional protection measures to FP workers by granting them 50% discount on fees or charges imposed on remittances to their families in the Philippines. As an incentive to banks and non-bank financial intermediaries for into the remittance business and provide the discount, they may claim the discounts granted as tax deduction based on the cost services rendered to one of them used to be treated as ordinary necessary expense not to do from their gross income. The bill prohibits this financial intermediaries from basing their current remittance fees on private consultation. Mr. Chair, as I mentioned, as previously, this proposed measure will definitely benefit the guidance of this and the advice of this committee. With that, Mr. Chair, respectfully submit for this consideration. Where's the bill that covers everything we lost? What is the number today? It's called Magna-Carta. That's good from the point of view of the yes, it's a different perspective. Yes, of course,
Alright guys, tayo mag-out muna tayo sa ating live. Mag-live tayo ulit ha. Sandali lang kasi nawala-wala po ating signal. Big Ang Ice Channel sa Mabot. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair.